Welcome to our daily horrors. I'm Meeka Nomicon, and today we're going to be playing through the game Romancing Flesh, where we learn what caused a once normal graduate student to come into a mad scientist set on committing horrific experimentations. The warden wants to see you. Follow me. Delisle Correctional Institute, 1946. He's all yours, sir. You're relieved, Jeremiah. Best get home to the missus. Thank you, sir. Hi, Warden. How you doing? I've transformed Delisle Correctional Institute from a dingy country jail to one of the top facilities in the country. Did you know that? I didn't do that by just imprisoning small-time crooks, murderers, and thieves. No, sir. Over the years, I have curated a very specific type of prisoner. Deviants! They're not like you or me. Sickos, perverts, communists, whatever you want to call them. They can't be rehabilitated because they're barely human to begin with. And the strangest part is, you'd think every part of their brain is broken, but they can still feel shame. A father of 3 will try to shoot you dead if you accuse him of putting dresses on and having sex with bellboys. A well-to-do woman will stick her head in the oven before she'd admit to a dalliance with a coloured boy down the road. And hell, even my own mother was a goddamn suffragette, but me or Dad would have beaten the snot out of her if we found out that she, before, croaked on us. It's a difficult thing to get confessions from these freaks. Now, normally, when a district attorney needs a bit more time to build a case against one of these deviants, they'll rush them through the courts on some trumped-up charge, keep them in prison for a while, and hopefully buy enough time to build a case. But if they can't, Delisle Correctional Institute will get a confession for them. We've read the works of Froude, Moreno, and Watson. Reproduced the experiments of Pavlov and Skinner. Well, that sounds like a bad thing. You're saying you tortured them into confessing? And consulted with Wertham, Miller, and Jung. And we've distilled them all into an effective methodology that loosens the prisoner's tongue, while leaving them free of the physical cuts and bruises that don't play well to judges and juries. Real humane, like. But listen to me ramble on. The reason I brought you in here is because you're Salmont, and Mr. Charles Keating is one of those deviants. We've tried our best to build a psychological profile on him, find a proper plan of attack, but Mr. Keating managed to run out of the clock on us. Mr. Keating will have served his sentence as of midnight tonight, unless we get a confession in the next few hours. I want you to read these documents from the U.S. Attorney's Office. If you believe anything in these documents can be used to get a confession out of Mr. Keating, we need to know. Wait, why would I help you? Am I not a prisoner? In return, if you merely read these documents, even if you don't find anything, we'll consider your sentence served. I know it sounds too good to be true. Anything you can tell us might be the key to keeping this monster behind bars. He doesn't fit into the world. I don't know if I trust this guy. What's to stop him doing something similar to me? He belongs with me. Okay. I honestly, this sounds like such a bad idea. Okay, you got a barn, you got a van, you got music. Okay. Dearest mother, the bus trip is a bit longer and more uncomfortable than I was expecting, but I should be in Alabama within a few days. I've called Dr. Petrov's office, and he assures me his facility is a few hours outside of Fayette. So I'm not as far from civilization as I feared. I may have forgone the nightly edition of the paper, but we all must make deep sacrifices in times of war. Please remind Father that Dr. Petrov's work is being funded by the US Army, and although I won't exactly be one of the tough SOBs marching into Hirohito's palace, I'll be an active contributor of the war effort. Besides, I hear if I were a service member, the letters I send you would look like Swiss cheese, and we don't want to exasperate your lactose intolerance. I hope this letter finds you in better spirits than when I left, and in worse spirits than when I'm there. Your loving son, Charles. Well, that doesn't seem so bad. You go to the farmhouse, I'm guessing that's where his parents are. Recording, dated February 12th, 1942. Hello? Dr. Petrov? I'm sorry for the call. The bus trip is taking a bit longer than I was expecting, but I should be there in just a couple more days. That's fine. I'm still setting up the lab, and most of my supply shipments will be arriving late as well. You should be in town just in time to help me get everything up and running. Phew, good. If there is anything I should brush up on before I get to the lab. I managed to grab a decent selection of medical journals while I was in Boston. Plant cellular structure. What? The nature of the work we'll be doing is a bit cross-disciplinary. I trust your medical knowledge is up to date, but I need to make sure you've brushed up on some of the basics of botany. I suppose I could visit a bookstore while we're at the stop. A newsstand should have some periodicals. No need for the latest journals, Mr. Keating. You don't need to know the latest scientific learnings, but you should be able to write and illustrate a grade school textbook on basic plant biology with your eyes closed before you get here. I'll make sure to study hard on the trip over. Good lad. And if you could bring a tin of real coffee, I'd appreciate it. We're down to the stuff cut with chicory down here. I'll try my best, sir. See you in a few days. Oh, I forgot to ask if it was all right for me to record this call. Okay, I've read this one. Oh, so I just did it out of order. Oops. But wait, shouldn't it? Why are we searching botany? Does that really have anything to do with human anatomy? Science is a poor pursuit for a young man. Too much infatuation with the new and novel, with no room to appreciate the refuge of tradition. Quite frankly, Mr. Keating should have seen what was coming next. What was coming next, indeed? Wait. Aha! What? Wait, their experimentation was to turn human body parts into plants? Or was it to try and infuse body parts into the structure of plants? You know, I wouldn't hate this. If it wasn't for all the hair, why did you have to include toe hair? I would be oh. That's the only thing I really don't like about that plant. That made me weird. I don't know what this is. Maybe some kind of cellular thing. March 8th, 1942. This is subject 42FA5, and it's time for her meal. What do you mean, her? The FA... Wait, what? It seems to be able to sense when the fly is near. But further experimentation will be needed to determine how. Eat it! Notice here, she swallows the fly whole, crushing it inside of its stomach. Once it starts growing teeth in a few days, she'll switch to chewing as it conserves a bit more energy. Why is it a she? And what precisely is it? Okay, that one's looked at. What a... Recording dated March 3rd, 1942. There. We're recording now. I don't want to be recorded. Now, what the hell did you get me involved with, Dr. Petrov? It's a flower, Charles. It has teeth! Yes, the teeth were unexpected. But look how evenly they grew in. The dentistry isn't the issue, Dr. Petrov. What you're doing here is unethical. How exactly is it unethical? You ripped apart a living, breathing thing to make... Mr. Keating, this isn't a butcher's shop. I'm not hacking and stitching animals together like cheap circus attractions. I grew this flower from the blastocyst. I fertilized the egg by needle injection in my lab. Wait, are you saying you quite literally birthed something to be formed like this? How would that even work? What do you mean, grew? Before it reaches the embryonic stage, you can count the number of cells inside a blastocyst by hand. If you have an expensive microscope, a small needle, and lots of time, you can even identify what each of these individual cells would grow and divide into. So, I take those individual cells, and instead of letting it grow into a monkey, I manually remove what I don't want it to grow, and rearrange what I do want to grow. But why turn it into that? You'll read those botany books, like I told you to, yes? Yes? Very simple structures, aren't they? You know, I'm having a moral dilemma. I don't know if this is unethical or not. Like, ignoring if it's scientifically possible or not, that doesn't matter. But it's not technically alive yet. If it's just a cluster of cells, it can't feel pain, right? Would it have any sentience in this format? I don't know how I feel about that. Very simple structures, aren't they? Most of the plant is made of the same type of cell. No complicated organ systems, no skeletal structure, no need for a centralized brain. If I took these pre-embryonic masses of cells and just rearranged them willy-nilly, I'd create thousands of malformed failures before I stumbled on a useful form. So instead, I used plant structures as a basis to rearrange the cells, and the results have been astounding. Just a few rows of pseudo-plant cell design, and it not only maintains the structure, but continues growing it naturally, like the animal cells can remember their plant roots. Pardon the pun, of course. But you're missing the point. You're not growing a new life. You're forcing something to suffer from its own birth. They don't suffer, Charles. I've been analysing their brain patterns. They use so little energy to grow. Their brains default into a dream state. A calm, peaceful sleep. So they do have sentience. And so then they would actually feel pain, wouldn't they? Because I can't actually... Don't plants feel pain as well? Isn't that how you get chilies? I'm pretty sure the spicy chilies is just tortured plants, isn't it? And then we'll be killing them for their meat. Yes, but someday I'll design them to grow as large as trees, shedding meat like apples of their branches, living for hundreds of years. Wait, you want to design a creature that grows mass of... Well, it eventually would be probably like fat and... It would have to be muscle tissue though, but disposable muscle tissue if you want it to literally drop off an animal. So we can have meat that doesn't kill it. I don't know why I'm trying to logic my way through this. I'm still stuck on the moral dubiousness of this entire thing. Which is probably why he ends up in prison. A forest of these trees will negate the need to raise animals for slaughter, ending a 10,000-year genocide of innocent creatures. I already bought a plot of land a bit further north, for when I'm ready to grow them. I thought it would take decades for me to make something like this, but then I found you. I've read your paper on a typical embryonal development, and it felt like a practical extension of my own work on a teratology of plants and animals. That paper was on birth defects, Petrov. I can't do that to animals on purpose. What's evolution, if not a series of beneficial birth defects? What would take 1,000 generations and dead ends to spontaneously develop, we could grow overnight. While other scientists are trying to fix problems nature gave us, we'll design a sustainable future for the planet. Well, it should be a future without biting flowers, at least. But maybe you could isolate the stomach and rearrange the structure like a Venus flytrap. A Venus flytrap? See, I'm glad I recorded that, because I am out of pen ink. There are so many problems right now. Dear Aunt Sonia, happy birthday! I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person this year, but I hope my package arrived in time for the party. Work has been busier than expected. I'm sorry if my last few letters gave the impression that I can be frank about the work I'm doing. But now that the lab is fully operational and the experiments have started in earnest, I realize some self-censorship on my own part will be required. In the vaguest terms possible, my work involves supplementing the army's diet with quick and cheap meat. But Dr. Petrov has some lofty goals for where the research could lead. I'm sorry to say your sister's son attended college to become a glorified sausage maker, but it's not the worst place war could have taken me. That being said, Dr. Petrov is very passionate about the work we're doing. It's miles different from the lab work at Tufts College. There's a half-dozen experiments in different stages of development, and every day I'm learning something new. It's frantic and fast-paced, but energizing. It'll be a while before we're manufacturing canned meats, but I could probably treat you some jerky for your homemade fudge by next Christmas. Your loving nephew, Charles. I am horrified about what this thing is going to turn into. I'm not going to even lie. There's your fly. Time to feed. Have you got teeth yet? No? Swallow! There we go. Okay, well, it's been fed. We should leave this thing alone now. Wait, so is that a stomach? Now, men like you or I, we would know better. When the witch in the woods welcomes you into her gingerbread house, you don't accept the invitation. You throw her in the fire. Oh, wait, is this what they're developing into? Where did the tentacles come from? It definitely looks a lot more organy. Oh, it's got tiny arms. That's horrifying. Oh, it's horrifying but adorable. How long before they make a mandrake, do you think? That's pretty. I don't want to know what it's comprised of, but it's pretty. Recording dated August 24th, 1942. Wait, oh, curses. Why did that go? Okay, it's on. Say that again, Charles. Chimera? Haha, yes! But the whole thing, you drunk. The entire thing you said. The whole thing again! Okay. The plant animals we've been growing tend to be fairly small, for a lot of reasons. We've only grown them from a single rearranged blastocyst. We've only allowed them a few weeks to reach maturity. The plants can't grow faster than the animal's parts it came from would. Yes, but get to the important part. Okay, so our experiments with the grafting have been failures. But instead of trying to graft during adulthood, we can simply make our pre-embryonic blueprints bigger by using more blastocysts. And this wouldn't result in rejection because we have well-documented cases of siblings ingesting other smaller embryos in the womb, resulting in the embryo containing cells from both siblings, chimeras. We will merely start the stage in the process even earlier and assemble larger plants. Now, that implies we can only use genetic siblings to build these plants. I assume we can't use other animals to genetically unsimilar. We could certainly experiment and find out. I'd certainly like to see a rabbit pigeon dandelion or something. You blow on it and a bunch of seeds will fly out of the rabbit earwings. You have lost your mind, sir. You see? Inspiration can strike at any time, Charles. We could have forgotten all about this in the morning. Yes, fine, I can see the merits of your little recording device there. Oh, another idea! What if you made plant animals that interconnected with each other, like pieces of a puzzle piece? You could have one plant specially designed to collect and refine nutrients, which can feed a second plant that can just focus on growing bigger. That's a strange place to need a mouth, Charles. Wherever you'd like to put your mouth is fine to me, Dr. Petrov. What was that? Oh, yes! It was just a little joke. Let's call it a night. You aren't recording this by any chance, are you? Dear Cousin Delilah, I've been paying extra to get the hometown papers shipped down here in Alabama, and I read that you won a blue ribbon for your peanut butter fudge at the county fair last month. You must be absolutely over the moon. I can relate to a lesser extent. As I have told you in my last correspondence, I am finally getting the hang out of the work, which must be secret, and I've managed to make a breakthrough of my own. Essentially, for the past year, I've been trying to perfect Dr. Petrov's recipes. He'll make some new sort of confectionery, and when he feels like I'm ready, I'll go through the hard work of perfecting it. A little less flour here, a little more baking powder there, trying to get the ratios just right. But I finally made a recipe of my own. I hope someday I can share it with you and the rest of the family and make you as proud as you all make me, especially the ribbon winners among you. With love, Charles. P.S. Take heed. Your mother won't stay number 2 baker in the family for long, and she'll make everyone in the family fat with fudge until she's reclaimed her crown. If they'd stop there, we might be hailing them as gastronomic pioneers. Heck, I might have eaten a ribeye salad for dinner tonight. But I think they wanted more than food. Wait, so you're trying to say the experiments were correct, like, successful? Oh wait, so is that gonna be like the plant part, the root? You got a plant, Bunny? And there's the Venus flytrap. With lungs? Interesting. Recording dated November 20th, 1942. Audio log 10:30:42. We may have hit a snag with the rabbit experiment. Are you recording a log on the rabbit experiment? It's just a lover spat, Sergey. They'll be back together in no time. The rabbit's new leg bit it, Charles. I warned you this might happen if we didn't engineer both of the animals together that way. Una was a little confused, that's all. Let Jack settle down for a couple of days, and I'm sure he'll take Una back. After seeing how quickly Jack took to his new leg, I was more than happy to let this whole thing keep going. But this is necessarily the best thing for both of them. Una can move around on their own, and so can Jack. They're not wholly dependent on one another. Maybe we could just let them stay friends? just stay friends? We should really be focusing on our real work. Plus, this is starting to veer off both of our areas of expertise. Let's just call the experiment off for now. You want to call it off, Sergey? Well, maybe I should take your advice and engineer a new symbiote for Una, then. A new partner might solve Una's problems. Well, we don't know what sort of effect that will have on Jack, mentally speaking. Again, Charles, this is all very new to me. Everything we've been doing has been new to me. Some new experimental organism, a novel discovery, some unexpected result. And it is exciting, don't get me wrong. But it's nice to have someone reliable in all the chaos, who is also a little exciting himself. And I'm glad that person has been you. Is he just trying to bribe him and sweet talk him into continuing the experiment with Jack? I don't trust him. I don't trust anyone here. Maybe we can keep the Jack and Una experiment going. Wow, you were so easy to manipulate, friend. You know, that's on you. You were just so easy to sweet talk. He said one nice thing to you. We can pick the discussion up in the morning if you prefer. Did he die? Did Charles murder him? I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Dear great Uncle Anthony, I tried recreating your famous dry rump mix. Some of the ingredients were hard to come by, rationing and all that, but I think we managed to get a close approximation. We threw a little backyard barbecue for the neighborhood to taste test our first production batch of meat, and it was a resounding success. This whole experience has given me a newfound appreciation for the time I spent on your farm when I was younger. Dr. Petrov nearly fainted during our butchering process, leaving me to do it all on my own. He reminded me of the time you put Clarabelle chicken on my drilling plate. Please write back when you have the chance. I'm dying to hear how the rest of the family is doing. Your city slicker grandnephew, Charles. Did he feed the entire neighborhood his suspicious plant meat? I find this more concerning than a lot of things in life. Everything you've read so far is what I've had to scrape and scrounge to get from government files. So, you've already read all the juicy stuff. The rest is the boys in blue mopping up. Oh, are they destroyed? Wait, are they pig hooves? Pig hooves and teeth. Yeah, you should probably kill that with fire. Instant report narrative. On the above date, P.O. Daniels responded to a call about an escaped animal. Upon finding the loose cow, P.O. Daniels saw his mouth was covered in blood. Upon closer inspection, the grass the cow was eating was some kind of malformed rat stuck in the ground. After calling for backup, officers discovered a sizable acreage of buried deformed animals. Mr. Keating became agitated, and in response, officers were forced to put him into submission. Mr. Petrov was taken into custody for questioning. For health and safety reasons, it was decided to humanely dispatch the animals before bringing Mr. Petrov and Mr. Fielding into custody. Wait, they were literally growing these plant hybrid animals in their backyard? More importantly, the cows went to eat it? Memo from the Office of Redacted. As my JAG officer has previously claimed on my behalf, Dr. Sergei Petrov was awarded a government contract from the general, who died during, resulting in a transition period in which most of Petrov's work, of an already secretive nature, was done with little to no oversight, until my office was made aware of it. Unfortunately, my upcoming absolvement may result in many more officers lower along the chain of command being found at fault. officers you do not want to bring to court during these desperate times. Considering the improbability of systematic failure within the U.S. Armed Forces, I suggest we propose to the possibility that foreign agents were involved. Under the specific circumstances, Petrov was working as a contractor. A treason charge would take him outside the U.S. military jurisdiction and tried as a civilian. You're welcome. Redacted. Wait. You're just trying to shift the blame now? Oh. Oh no. Oh, wait, so I need to get a confession that he is some kind of spy from a different country, which he's clearly not. He's just insane. Rightio. 2 redacted. Mr. Keating and I are currently in Fayette Court Jail. I believe the police have set fire to most of our work. I try to save as much of our work as possible, but please send copies of all the records I've sent so far to your offices. And if you have any internal copies of your correspondences, please send those as well. We've made remarkable Oh, I'm supposed to be Petrov. Oh well, too late. We've made remarkable progress in the last few months, and I believe if we acted quickly, we can still reach our first production deadline. Thank you, Dr. Sergei Petrov. Yeah, I've read all this. Apparently I somehow read it backwards. Never mind. We live in a delicate world, in a fragile time. This is not an era for radical new ideas. We just fought a long and hard war to re-establish the grand order of the world, for heaven's sake. And on American soil, a couple of dandy bookworms are playing God and feeding diseased meat to our children. I couldn't stand it. So I took a leaf from Mr. Petrov's playbook. I psychologically tore Mr. Keating apart and reformed and re-educated him as I saw fit. Oh, he's not looking good. Into you. Oh! I don't know why I didn't see that coming. That actually makes loads of sense. In the disassociated state you're in, Mr. Keating, it gives you a sense of clarity, doesn't it? You can see what I see. Why didn't your family ever write you back? Why did your lover try to rescue his work instead of you? If you leave this prison tonight, where can you go? You know the answers. You know why you're here. You know why you need to sign this confession. Why you need to stay behind bars. You left home and traveled across the country, hoping you'd change into the sort of person your family would miss. But instead of doing something to make them proud, you decided to pursue what made you happy, and you became a sick caricature of everything your parents hated about you in the first place. A mama's boy sticking his meat in the dirt, hoping it'd grow. Sign the confession. Do I have any choice in this? If you leave the prison now, you'll undo all the work I've done for you. You'll fall back into bad habits and become the same person you were 3 years ago. And none of us want that, would you? Oh! Wait, do I actually get to pick? No. Oh, no, I don't. No, it's all the same answer. No, I don't want to change back, Warden. Wait, what just fell off my face? I've made so much progress. Oh, my chin fell off. That's unfortunate. I kind of needed that. It was hard fabricating the equipment necessary to continue Dr. Petrov's work, but you wouldn't believe how fruitful my experiments have become. Oh, am I now an experiment? Or am I just gone insane? That looks pretty cool though. And quite frankly, I like the persons I've become. Oh yeah, wait, are we gonna kill him? Yes, eat the warden! He deserves it! He is not any better than the rest of us. So do you think we ate the warden? It took me months to find you. You didn't answer when I called your name. Oh, he's a tree now. From a distance, I almost didn't recognize you. But I found you. I hope you're dreaming of me. Drinking from the brook. Eating the fruit from your branches. Huddling from rain and sleet in your safe embrace. And someday, in a brief moment of lucidity, maybe you'll read this message and know I'm gone. You wanted us to change the world, and we did. Starting with ourselves. I'll always remember you fondly. Love, Charles. You know, I wasn't expecting Petrov to be turned into a tree at the end there. Really? Their experiments technically worked. I don't know when they went on to human experimentation. Do you know, I'm just gonna say, everyone within this game don't deserve to live. No, none of you deserved it. You all deserved everything you got. Well, I hope you enjoyed that playthrough of Romancing Flesh, and we did our deep dive into the twisted derangement that is mad scientists. Charles never stood a chance. As always, if you want to check out the game, I'll leave the link in the description below. If you've enjoyed your time here, then please remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel. But other than that, hope you have a spooky day, and I'll catch you next time, guys.